Hey everybody, welcome back. My name is Krishna, and in this video, I'm going to attempt to draw a Naruto character. I've never drawn an anime character before in my life, so this is the first time. So let's see how we do it. So I'm looking at a reference of this character off screen, and I'm just going to start off by, breaking this character down into some simplified shapes. I'm going to start off with a circle. And I'm going to rough this drawing in. A lot of my students in the past, I've taught for many, many years, and I've seen a lot of students express a lot of admiration for Naruto. I have never watched this cartoon. So if you have any recommendations for Naruto to watch, just let me know in the comments below. I'm always willing to keep an open mind. I do like Japanese anime. I just have never really experienced Naruto. I have not experienced any of the other popular franchises like Dragon Ball Z. Not because of anything else. I think I was just at an age where that wasn't in my zeitgeist. And fair disclosure, when I draw this character, I'm going to draw this character kind of with some of my aesthetic sensibilities. I'm not going to necessarily make it look exactly like the character, but I will take some heavy inspiration. And I'm looking at an action figure, so I can get a sense of proportions, etc. So you'll notice here that when I'm starting out, I start off with no detail. I'm just working on shapes. We have the hair that kind of spikes up. I think of these as volumetric shapes. I'm sure all of my former students are probably wondering, what motivated me to draw Naruto? And the answer is really, I just never drawn this character before. I like challenges. All right, so this is my first pass. Let's drop the opacity. Let's make a new layer. I'll switch to black now. I think I need to make the ears a little bit less big. As I ink, I kind of make a little bit of changes as needed. It's just the way I work. I think anime gets a lot of bad rep from art professors because I think that oftentimes when they see their students working on anime, that's the only thing that they want to draw. It's easy to get caught into a mode where you like something and you want to keep drawing that, and that's perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But what I would say, I think it's important to be a little bit open-minded and to draw things outside of your comfort zone so you can get better at it. And the stuff that you draw that's outside of your interest will find a way to affect your art in really interesting ways. So instead of just drawing this the way every other person has drawn a Naruto character, you can end up adding your own spin. And I think that's one of the things I try to tell my students. I think that some professors are just hell-bent against anime. And if you've had a professor like that, let me know in the comments. I think if I had to say what my favorite anime is, or Japanese anime, I really like Akira. I saw Akira in the theaters in the 90s when it first came out. I was in college, and it literally blew me away because I'd never seen action animated so amazingly. Since that point in time, I've enjoyed Cowboy Bebop. I've enjoyed the Miyazaki films. Spirited Away is one of my favorites. I think there's a lot to appreciate in all art forms. I think it's just like, it's so easy to judge, saying that you can just apply a blanket label to something and say that it's no good, but I think that's really close-minded. I feel like there's a lot to appreciate in every type of style. All right, so now we've got that in. We'll just indicate a collar here. We'll frame him up and we'll go ahead and add some colors. So this is less about how to draw this character and more on the lines of how I would approach a character that I've never drawn before. And my basic strategy here is to draw with volumetric shapes, to draw with form, to not think of them as lines, but to think of drawing as sculpting with your pencil. And I pride myself on trying to draw things outside of my own comfort zone. And that doesn't mean that I don't have my favorites. There's a lot of things, if you look at my Instagram feed, you'll see that I have obvious interest in certain areas. For example, I love superhero comics from the Bronze Age, from the 70s and 80s. Those are all things that I really enjoy. I love music, and I liked Jimi Hendrix and things like that. So there's nothing wrong with drawing things that you enjoy. This is not the point of the video. The point of the video is to let you know that you can do that, but try to draw other things too. If, for example, you want to get better at drawing backgrounds, try drawing a couple of backgrounds. You'll never know until you try, right? Okay, so now I've got, just merge these layers together. Let's see, I'm going to add some thicker outlines just around his head, just to make that stand out a little bit more. So tell me how I'm doing here. Is this like the worst you've ever seen? Drop me a comment. Again, I've never watched this series before. Curious to know what you think. All right, so let me go ahead and drop some knowledge while I'm doing this here too. So Magic Wand tool is your friend. You can set your tolerance to a high value, like say 66. Make sure that anti-alias contiguous and sample all layers are all checked on. And what I'm going to do here is I'll just pick the hair. And let's sample this. I'm just going to move my little sphere down below. It's kind of got golden hair. I'm using Option Delete or Alt Backspace to quickly fill my colors in. I think he's got kind of... I need to get that skin complexion just right. So I'll just dial this in. Nope, that's probably not it. There we go. So these are just color flats. And for those areas that are filled in that I don't want to have filled in, I can come back in with the lasso tool to remove that. You know, I'll give you a little confession about drawing things that you love. I loved the Roadrunner cartoons, and I was obsessed with those cartoons. And I totally get it when students tell me that they love something quite a bit. I was that person with regards to Roadrunner. I would draw this character over and over and over again because I was just so enamored with the series. I love that cartoon. But I think that was the only thing that I could really draw. And I used that as my crutch. I remember in many art classes where I had other assignments to draw, and I would always try to find a way to draw the Roadrunner in there. And I think on some level, some of my teachers might have gotten a little bit annoyed by that. And looking back at it, I kind of understand that because I wasn't growing as an artist. I was just basically doing the thing that was already very easy and very comfortable for me to do. And we don't really grow when we're in a position of comfort, right? We tend to grow the most when we're doing things that are outside of our comfort zone. I'm going to use a little bit of orange back here. Let's just check the color values here. Okay, so the orange, I could probably make that a little bit darker just to make him pop. I'm doing a grayscale test. I talk about that in one of my videos. Now that I have these elements here, let's think about where a light source is coming from. So let's assume the light is hitting him head on. That's probably the easiest to do. So again, using my lasso tool. Some people will use a brush. I use the lasso tool because I just got used to it. My previous background design video series makes extensive use of the lasso tool. It's a really underrated tool in my opinion. If you've watched those videos and you've created some work using that technique, I'd love to see what you did. So making the selection, I'm going to make this lighter. And then I'll make certain parts down here just a little bit darker. I always want to think about light and shadow. For the face, what I'll do is I'll just sample this value, pick a lighter value. We know that the nose is going to get some of that light. And let's now put some darker values in. Put this on a separate layer. Let's add a little bit of reflectivity on this jacket. And our last touch is we're going to use white. We're going to create a layer above the inks. And we'll just add just a little sense of highlight. I'll just zoom in so you can see this better. So we have a little sparkle. And there you go. Naruto. Let me know what you think in the comments below. As always, thanks for watching the video. Hope you got something out of it. If you haven't already considered subscribing, please subscribe. It helps the channel, and I would greatly appreciate your support. Thanks so much for watching. See you in the next one.